Dear Dr. Saji Gopinath, Vice Chancellor, Kerala Technology, Sri Kumaran Rampi, Sri G. Vijayaraghavan, members of TKM College Trust, and members of the TKM family, heads of TKM institutions, former principals and teachers, members of the Alumni Association, Dr. Sakib, Principal, Dr. S. Ayub, media persons, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to congratulate the recipients of Tangal Kunj Musliar lifetime achievements. I am very much indebted to Sri Kumaran Rampi and Sri Vijayaraghavan for their gracious presence here. I am also grateful to Dr. Saji Gopinath, who is here to deliver the commemorative speech. We are here to observe the 61st Founders Day of Janam Tangal Kunj Musliar. He was born on the 12th January 1897 and breathed his last on 19 February 1966. He lived nearly 7 decades with us in this world. However, he could put an indelible impression on the socio-economic and cultural life of the society. He was a visionary industrialist, philanthropist, and a committed educationalist whose legacy profoundly impacted both cashew industry and the education landscape of the region. He was instrumental in the phenomenal growth of cashew industry in India, and he came to be called the Cashew King. In 1947, he owned 26 factories. There are nearly 30,000 employees, and out of which 25,000 were women employees. It was a great step for women empowerment. The Fortune magazine, published from America, commented Musliar is the single employer who employed the largest number of employees in the world. He was deeply concerned about the people around him who were backward in education and without proper and adequate facilities for education. He went into starting a college, which was a daring educational adventure at that time. The foundation stone of the college was laid by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India, in 30 February 1956. And at the foundation laying ceremony, the president showed a lasting compliment. If all the rich men in the country had come forward like Janab Musliar, many of our problems would have been solved. It was on July 30, 1958. The TKM College of Engineering was officially inaugurated by Dr. Humayun Kabir. The then Union Minister of Scientific Research and Cultural Affairs of Government of India. On the 20th December 1956, he founded the TKM College of Trust to manage the affairs of the college. His life exemplified greatness in its true sense. His initiative in trade, industry, and education have had a lasting impact on society. The TKM College the TKM institutions continue to uphold his position, contributing significantly to the educational and industrial development of Kerala. His dream, no dream was too big for him, and no challenge was insurmountable as dedication and determination led his way. His style of functioning was inimitable and unlimited. With all humility, I pay my glowing contributions to sacred memory of the founder, Janab Tangal Kunju Musliar. My good wishes to all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for that inspiring address. It is now my privilege to invite our distinguished guest to deliver the commemorative speech in honor of our revered founder, Janab A. Tangal Kunju Musliar. Dr. Saji Gopinath is a distinguished academic leader and institution builder, widely recognized for his contributions to digital transformation and higher education. A gold medalist in mechanical engineering from the University of Kerala, he pursued his postgraduate studies and doctoral research in management at IISc Bengaluru. He was associated with IIM Kozhikode for over 17 years, serving in key academic leadership roles as dean and professor. He later served as director of the IITM Kerala, playing a pivotal role in its transformation into the present Digital University Kerala. Under his leadership as the CEO of the Kerala Startup Mission, our state was consistently ranked as a top performer startup ecosystem by the Government of India. And KSUM was recognized as the world's #1 public business accelerator at the World Incubation Summit in 2019. He currently serves as the Vice Chancellor of the Kerala University of Digital Sciences, Innovation and Technology. May I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Saji Gopinath to deliver the Tangal Kunju Musliar commemorative speech. So.
Good morning. Namaskaram. Respected Chairman, Kerala Shri Janab Dr. Shahil Hassan Musliar, distinguished personalities who are receiving Tangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award, noted poet and lyricist Shri Kumaran Thambi, sir, eminent multifaceted technocrat and institution builder and a social leader, Shri G. Vijayaraghavanji, other dignitaries of the dais, members of TKM Trust and family, faculty, staff and students of TKM group of institutions, invitees, guests, and ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me express my deep sense of gratitude to TKM Trust for giving me this opportunity and the privilege to deliver this year's commemorative lecture on visionary leader Janab A. Tangal Kunju Musliar, a name that is not merely inscribed in the title of these great institutions and other great institutions which he have founded, but engraved deeply into the civic and intellectual history of Kerala. As a student of management and business studies, researching on this multifaceted activities of Janab Tangal Kunju Musliar after I got this invitation, on how he built lasting enterprises in multiple domains was a truly enriching experience, and my biggest regret is that I have not done it earlier. The way Musliar transformed Kollam, an obscure speck at the beginning of 20th century, into the cashew capital of the world in around 40 to 50 years, is a great case study for every learner in management and industry development. As many practices adopted by Janab Musliar has become integral to the best practices for successful management of business transformation across the world. I will speak on this a little later. At every moment of our life, each of us leave footprints in the sands of time through our deeds and activities. Many of them are in the personal space, some are in the professional arena, and few may be in the larger societal canvas. But most of these footprints wither away in no time when small winds of change blows over them. A very few of them, which may remain visible for some time, also vanishes when major storms sweep across over the sand. But for some, their footprints not only remain indelible, but become more and more clear as the time progresses. These footprints guide us to address challenges faced at different points of time, as they are made with not just to traverse short-term distances, but with a vision that every long journey starts with a few small steps. Such persons are the true visionary leaders of the society. We heard from the address of Janab Shahal Hassan Musliar the type of work Dr. Janab Tangalkunju Musliar has done, and in various fields, be it in business, trade, commerce, journalism, social work, or in education. All these has created such footprint which withstood several storms and continue to shine even after 60 years of his sad demise. Through his life and work, Janab Musliar has proved what our former president, Sri APJ Abdul Kalam, has once said. I quote, "If you want to leave your footprints in the sands of time, don't drag your feet." I unquote. The conviction with which Musliar has undertaken each of his endeavors, unwavering commitment with which he executed them to perfection, made his footprints remain as if they are etched in stone, and we celebrate them today. One of which is this great institution where we are meeting to celebrate the Foundation Day. Founders Day, as you know, is not a routine remembrance. It's an invitation to rediscover a founder's mindset, a rare ability of a person to look beyond the day's worries and build for a future one may never personally enjoy. I don't want to make a very long speech today, especially of a person who put actions beyond the words and shown through his literary works, a few of them, that it is not the quantity but the quality that matters if you want to really make a lasting impact. His two books has actually made such a profound impact, and debate and discussions actually proves the point. So with your permission, let me limit this commemorative speech to just 3 pastures. First, to remember the life and works of Janab across industry, education, publishing, and public life from the lens of a management academic. Since, as I said at the beginning, I believe TKM's work provides a great case study of learning on how to develop sustainable global enterprises from Kerala, for that matter, from any region which have inherent challenges and resource constraints. Especially at a time when we speak about creating many global hubs in Kerala, I think the learnings of the life of Janab Tangalkunju Musliar is of great relevance. Second, to connect his legacy to the massive changes unfolding all around us. In the world of singularity, the AI, automation, global competition, and what many call a new world of abundance is emerging. How the principles of what we today call as Industry 5.0 was practiced decades before even that word got coined by the Tangalkunju Musliar is a very interesting aspect to look at. Third, to leave all of us, especially the students and faculty of TKM College of Engineering and other institutions, with a challenge to become inheritors of his vision by reimagining engineering education for the next 50 years. We all know that Musliar rose from very modest beginnings and became a formidable industrialist, widely remembered, as mentioned earlier, as the one who elevated Kollam's cashew trade into a global enterprise. But to describe him only as an industrialist is to miss his larger identity. He was a builder of institutions, economic, social, and educational. And he epitomized a very simple principle. Prosperity without knowledge is fragile, and knowledge without opportunity is unjust. If we analyze fall of great business enterprises across the world or failure of policies of government, we could understand the value of this proposition which he shown through his actions. Though Musliar was not fortunate to earn degrees, which unfortunately we mistook many times as the mark of knowledge, he could gather knowledge through deep study of the society all around the world, which helped him to ensure that his prosperity is sustainable. By establishing the educational institutions, he actually ensured that the less fortunate around him could gather knowledge in a systematic way, and the business institutions he created ensured that opportunity is available to put that knowledge into prosperity. This reinforcing model of development, I think, is very unique. As to my understanding, there are very few, if at all any, other industrialists in Kerala who could have done such task of contributing directly to education as much as what Janab Musliar has done. No wonder when the foundation stone was laid, our then president has mentioned that if every industrialist have worked like Janab Musliar, India could have been a very different place. When we look at how Janab Musliar built his business enterprise, we can see a demonstration of a lot of management principles. I believe that there are students and faculty from TKM Institute of Management is here. For them, this may be an interesting learning experience. He started his business enterprises at a time when market was dominated by resourceful British companies. But most of them were traders who sourced cashew from small household, popularly known at that time as Kudi Varupu. These companies were driven by myopic profit motive, as they believe keeping these producers or the processors of cashew at households decentralized will earn them higher bargaining power and profits. Unfortunately, this belief which is followed even today by many industrialists across the world to their own peril. Challenging this belief and consolidating the supply chain around 75 years before even that word became popular in the management literature, to me is perhaps one of the biggest contribution Musliar has brought into the table. He practiced to perfection all the new jargons of a supply chain management, be it the procurement, processing, quality, packaging, compliance, export, all of them he done to perfection. Though skillful, the workers that time could actually result in many inconsistencies in quantity and quality. He understood that if you really wanted to capture large markets, that has to be addressed. With keeping this decentralized is not necessarily a solution to that. That's basically where the integration actually started. He practiced operation strategy with the discipline of a scientist and instinct of an entrepreneur. And remember, he did so at a time when technology was limited. Finance was scarce, and institutions that support business today, credit systems. In fact, when he started the central bank, which was not even having a branch in Kollam, export promotion boards, logistics networks were far less mature. But with a keen sense of business, he has actually created a vertical integration model. He integrated logistics, the brick making factory for creating factories, efficiency at scale, product innovations, even waste management, converting the waste coming from the cashew processing into oil so that you can actually have additional revenue. All these may be today possible, but all these were done at a time when technology was extremely limited. His success, which we are celebrating today and we mentioned today, was therefore was not a miracle. It was a method. It was a result of perfect planning and execution. Learning, reinvestment, and repetition was the mantra which made him successful. Interestingly, these principles we teach today in business schools. And we search Western literature for finding suitable examples and case studies, while just in our backyard in Kollam, Janab Tangal Kunji Musliar has actually demonstrated this decades back. For me, Musliar's life further reinforced the principle, I believe, if you could not find diamonds in your backyard, you will never find them anywhere. It's ironical that Musliar, who started his career in a distant land in Ceylon, in search of diamonds, literally, he actually started his life by searching for diamonds. He actually truly discovered the diamonds in his own backyard in Kollam. That is a lesson for all of us, especially for the youngsters. Many of you aspire to travel to other parts of the world, thinking for a better living message. How to build a lasting empire even when you are deprived of resources is a great life lesson which needs to be learned by all of us. As a person who had great life experiences in Sri Lanka and Malaya or Singapore, especially during the growth stage of these regions, he understood a very simple principle. In a growth market, it is not the market which is a constraint, but supply is. Unfortunately, even today, when we prepare policies at government level, be it in the field of agriculture or skill development, we forget this simple principle and blindly ape the philosophies of slow growth Western world. Musliar understood that the way to conquer global market is to ensure quality supply which is consistent. Doing business truthfully, in fact, there are very interesting examples, anecdotes of how he has actually repaid a loan when there was no demand for that because the bank from which he has taken the loan is actually broken. But he has voluntarily actually returned the loan back to the bank. Doing business truthfully is not a cost, which many people actually consider and try to come out with shortcut ways of doing it, but is an investment for long-term sustainability. The words of Soviet representative after the death of Musliar, when he met in Koilon Cashew Club, he mentioned, I quote, "When you do business, do like Musliar. He never asked for extension of contract or change of assortment. He supplied goods promptly on time agreed upon." The important question, I unquote. The important question is, how could he do that when he has his supply chains which are completely disoriented? We have people with very limited skills, with very limited amount of resources supplying the items to him. How did he do that is an important question which we need to look at. You cannot assure supply unless supply chain is in your control. By moving Kudi Varupu model, which we discussed earlier, where the production was happening in small households, to factory model of cashew processing, Musliar proved that you can beat behemoths if you understand your market and have a clear plan of execution and not merely imitating others. A great lesson, I believe, for all startups aspiring to grow big. This has enabled him to grow dramatically, and contemporary accounts describe him as providing direct employment to tens of thousands of workers. As Honorable Chairman has mentioned, the Fortune has recorded in the institutional histories that he is being among the world's largest individual employers of his time, giving employment to over 30,000 people, many of them were women. But why does this matter for an engineering campus like this? Especially at a time when machines, we can call it as AI, is replacing humans. Because I believe an engineer's ultimate output is not a machine. It's a human capability. Safe work, dignified livelihood, productive systems, and values that retains in the society. In Muslia's story, enterprise was never abstract. It was deeply local, rooted in workers of Kollam. Yet, it is globally oriented, connecting Kerala to international market long before the word globalization became a buzzword. If someone subscribed to the view that global quality cannot be achieved with local talent, they should study Muslia's story and his work deeply. But any business, when it grows, it will face constraints. And specifically in the context of a business which is internationally oriented, supply constraints will be there. When you are faced with supply constraints, what normally a myopic entrepreneur will do is to move to places where the supply is abundant. As many of you may be knowing that Kollam is not necessarily the place where the availability of cashew is actually the maximum. This is a simple Western philosophic principle where if there are supply constraints, move to places where supply is available. But what makes a leader different from a normal entrepreneur is the ability to tide over this myopia, even when people around him actually follow it. Janab Musliar knows that while India processes at that point of time 80 to 90% of cashew, the large number of cashew is actually produced elsewhere in the world, especially in Mozambique and some part of Africa. That is exactly what led Musliar to do his next innovation, where he decided to import cashew from other parts of the world. Actually, I believe the real story of Kollam came from this. Maybe perhaps one of the first time where an entrepreneur half daringly ensured that we can import, process and export, which Britishers were doing for many other products in the past. In an era now where we cry for limitations, deficiencies and challenges, Musliar has proved that if you have the vision and commitment to execute, you will always find solutions. And those solutions, being innate, will bring such sustainability and growth to the enterprise. Today, corporate social responsibility or CSR has become a formalized policy and a compliance requirement. But Musliar belonged to an earlier generation for whom social responsibility was not a chapter in an audit report. It was a moral premise of wealth. His educational initiatives, publishing ventures, and public-spirited activities suggest a belief that profit must be translated into public good. But more than this, ensuring minimum wages for employees and ensuring that employee welfare is going to be the paramount shows how one can practice what today we call as conscious capitalism to its perfection. This approach is profoundly relevant today. As technology accelerates, the gap between those who can access opportunities and those who cannot may widen. Muslia's ethics reminds us the objective is not only to create value, but to distribute capability, to turn economic growth into human development. Before we leave this pasture, it's also pertinent to look at the situation of cashew industry today in Kollam and how, if we had followed Muslia's principles, we could have charted a very different course. With the fair wages and social welfare measures, statutory compliances, which are all sign of a mature developed societies coming into the cashew industry, the cost of processing of cashew has increased in Kerala. On the other hand, the other regions in India itself, which had got scant regard for such social welfare measures, could gain advantage, at least in the short run. From 900 factories, it has come down to 90 factories, while many factories have moved to those regions where such compliances are not that strong. This competitive vulnerability, which pushed many industries in Kerala into demise, has also affected cashew industry. But however, very few know that Musliar had a solution. He actually suggested collaborative sourcing and processing. Much before, those of you from IT field knows, a Covisint, a platform where technology companies came together maybe 50 years back, the concept of collaborative buying and processing has been suggested by him so that overheads can be reduced and you can create new avenues of growth per se. But unfortunately, this could not be done by one entrepreneur alone. It has to be needed a collective action. It needs people with a similar side of mindsets. When you have myopic industrialists around you, many of these ideas which has got a long-term vision may not really translate into action. It is at this time Musliar also turned into other much larger objectives by that time, and it also proves a point that emulating a person is very simple. Because you think, when you look at, you think that many things Musliar did are very simple and many commonsensical as such. But the essence is that simple things are hard to follow. It requires belief, dedication, and commitment. When we think of Musliar, we always remember TKM College of Engineering, a great public infrastructure he built, which had created numerous engineers, technocrats, leaders who shaped the course of human growth in India and elsewhere in the world. In fact, one of them is actually getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, who has actually shaped the IT sector, IT ecosystem in this state. But I think Musliar's life itself was a curriculum. It taught us a way of thinking that is increasingly rare, but very relevant. Long horizon thinking. In management literature, we call it as a systems thinking. Musliar built institutions whose fruits could largely be harvested by others. That is a definition of public-spirited leadership. If we ask the qualities that enables this leadership, we find a set of habits that are remarkably similar, interestingly, to what in engineering education we call the graduate attributes or competencies we want from modern engineers. And all these were there in Sri Musliar. A, system thinking, seeing how education, industry, jobs, and social mobility actually connect with each other. Execution discipline. How do you turn vision into repeatable processes? Learning agility. How do you adapt to market and technologies? And ethical grounding, using success to enlarge the opportunity. And finally, how do you communicate by investing in publishing and public discourse? In other words, the founder's mindset itself is an educational outcome. Let me close by looking at the last pastor. How Musliar's life lessons continue to be a guiding light in today's world of technology disruption. We know that the biggest disruptor of human life, the artificial intelligence, is already changing how we learn and how we work. It actually disrupts many of the works we were doing so far using our cognition. It is actually automating cognition just the way machines have automated human physical labor a century back, which actually increases the productivity and perhaps lead to what we call as a world of abundance. In an abundant world, the cost of producing the initial draft, perhaps it is for a code or a text or a design, drops dramatically. The first 80% becomes cheaper and faster. But the remaining 20%, the part that demands domain insight, safety, reliability, empathy, and accountability, become more valuable than ever. If you look at a parallelism, Musliar built his empire when machines were replacing human physical labor. Now machines are replacing the human cognitive labor. But it is interesting that he did not replace the labor. Instead, by changing the work environment from Kudi Varappu to factories, from wage labor to social welfare models, productivity linked bonuses, appropriate supply chain structures, simple automation to reduce the manual drudgery, and through human centric automation, he had proved that an alternate model exists in the time of accelerated automation. While the world was cutting labor, he became world's largest employer, private employer, employing over 30,000 people, creating multiple factories and logistics chain, and proved that it is possible to drive development if you stick to the fundamentals. The fundamentals which stood the test of time, including conceptual clarity, knowing why a method works and not how to use it. Interestingly, this is what we tell today when somebody uses AI, that make the AI explainable. In that conceptual clarity is something which he has actually shown to us. The scientific thinking, looking at a problem at its root cause and reason from the first principles. Ethics and responsibility, understanding the consequences, risks and human impacts. Creativity and curiosity, a person who take daring steps, curious to know what is happening around the world and moving, the capacity to imagine the alternatives. Character, a discipline, integrity, teamwork and resilience. Of course, it's very difficult for us to earn all these qualities, but it is our resolve to look at that and try to get it as much as possible. Muslia's legacy has shown that how these principles result in sustained success. He built enterprises not merely as profit maximization avenues, but as modern temples of collective good. He built education not as a rote learning, but as a means of empowerment. Empowerment is precisely what we need in the AI era. Humans who are strengthened by tools, not replaced by them. And Muslia has shown us the way. And above all, to make success sustainable. Compassion of fellow humans should precede objective gains. Prosperity and compassion, often considered as dichotomous, is not necessarily dichotomous. In a world of convergence, they converge to bring lasting success. And that is what his life has proved us decades ago. As I conclude, let's return to the spirit of the day. We honor Janab Tangal Kunji Musliar not only because he founded an institution or a few institutions like TKM College of Engineering, TKM College of Arts and Science, or built a business empire, or started a newspaper, Prabhadam, or written a few books, but because he modeled a different way of living. A way of living where to work hard without losing compassion, to earn without forgetting the society, to build enterprises that employ and uplift, to invest in knowledge and as the most durable wealth, to think of the next generation as one's most important stakeholders. In the coming years, technologies will continue to disrupt industries and professions. We may enter deeper into the world of abundance, of content, computation, and automated capability. But even in the abundance, the human questions remain. What is good? What is safe? What is fair? What is meaningful? The work and life of Janab Tangal Kunji Musliar will actually answer many of these questions. We cannot outsource these questions to machines. They must be carried by educated, ethical, and courageous human beings. That's why institutions like TKM College of Engineering matters more, not less in the AI age. On this Foundation Day, may we renew our promise that we will not merely keep Muslia's memory alive in ceremonies, but imbibe his vision intrinsically in all our activities, our classrooms, laboratories, research projects, and public service. Let's build boldly, responsibly, and together. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for that deeply insightful and inspiring address. Your reflections have added profound meaning to today's commemoration. As a token of our gratitude and appreciation, we now request Janab T.K. Usman Musliar to kindly come forward and present a memento to Dr. Sachi Gopinath. Thank you, sir. We now move to a very special segment of today's program, the TKM Lifetime Achievement Awards, instituted to honor individuals whose exemplary contributions resonate with the ideals upheld by our founder. To introduce today's awardees, may I now invite Janab J. Afzal Musliar, member TKM College of Trust.
Respected President, distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's a matter of great pride and privilege to introduce the distinguished personalities who are being honored today with the Thangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is instituted by the TKM College Trust to recognize individuals whose life and work reflect excellence, vision, social commitment, and lasting contributions to our society in the true spirit of our revered founder, Janab Thangal Kunju Musliar. The selection committee of the TKM College Trust considered the following pertaining to Honorable Shri Srigumaran Thambi. The TKM College Trust acknowledges Shri Srigumaran Thambi as an iconic figure in the cultural and literary landscape of Kerala. He obtained his engineering graduation from the Institute of Engineering Technology, Chennai, and Government Engineering College, Thrissur. He began his literary pursuit while working as an engineering professional in Madras. In 1966, he resigned his position as the assistant town planner to dedicate himself fully to the field of literature and arts. Shri Srigumaran Thambi is a poet, lyricist, screenwriter, director, and cultural thinker whose contributions span more than 5 decades. A prolific writer, he has authored numerous works of poetry, devotional literature, biographies, and literature works that have enriched Malayalam literature and preserved the cultural heritage of our land. As a lyricist, he has gifted Malayalam cinema with hundreds of memorable songs, many of which have become tireless classics cherished across generations. His lyrics are known for their literary depth, emotional resonance, and philosophical insight. Beyond cinema and literature, Dr. Srigumaran Thambi has made significant contributions as a filmmaker. His works reflect a deep commitment to values, heritage, and the moral foundations of society. In recognition of his lifetime contributions to music, cinema, and literature, he has received numerous prestigious honors, including the Kalashri Award in 2015, Vallathol Award in 2016, and in 2017, he was bestowed with the J.C. Daniel Award. Through his life and work, Shri Srigumaran Thambi has elevated art as a medium of cultural continuity and social enlightenment. His enduring contributions to poetry, literature, music, cinema, and cultural ecosystem of Kerala make him a truly deserving recipient of the Thangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, sir. The selection committee of the TKM College Trust considered the following pertaining to Honorable Shri G. Vijayaraghavan. The Trust is honored to recognize Shri G. Vijayaraghavan, the proud and illustrious alumnus of TKM, as one of the foremost architects of Kerala's technological and innovation ecosystem. A distinguished technocrat, visionary administrator, and a former member of the Kerala State Planning Board, Shri Vijayaraghavan played a pioneering role in conceptualizing and establishing Technopark Thiruvananthapuram, India's first IT park in the public sector. His leadership laid the foundation for the IT revolution in Kerala and positioned the state as a significant player in the global technology landscape. Through his strategic vision and dedicated efforts, He helped create an ecosystem that attracted global technology companies, generated employment opportunities for thousands of young professionals, and catalyzed the growth of knowledge-based industries in the state. Over the years, he has held several key leadership positions in technology, infrastructure development, and public administration, consistently contributing to innovation, digital transformation, and sustainable development. Sri Vijay Raghavan is the founder director of National Institute of Speech and Hearing and currently serves as the honorary director of the Center for Autism and Other Disabilities Rehabilitation, Research, and Education. He has held several significant leadership positions across academic, professional, and international platforms. As a proud alumnus of TKM family, his achievements stand as a powerful inspiration to our students and academic community. His lifelong commitment to technological advancement, institution building, and public service makes him a most fitting recipient of the Thangal Kunjum Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, sir. Today, as we honor these two distinguished personalities, one who enriched our cultural and intellectual heritage, and the other who transformed our technological and developmental landscape, we celebrate lives of excellence, dedication, and enduring social impact as envisioned by our beloved founder. May their achievements continue to inspire generations to dream, to serve, and to build a better society. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for that gracious introduction and for setting the context for honoring today's distinguished awardees. May I now invite Dr. T.K. Shahal Hassan Musliar, President TKM College Trust, along with Janab T.K. Jalaluddin Musliar, Treasurer TKM College Trust, to kindly present the TKM Lifetime Achievement Awards. Let me invite the legendary cultural icon of Kerala, Honorable Sri Kumaran Thambi sir, to kindly receive the award. Thank you, sir. Now let me invite our proud alumnus, Honorable G. Vijay Raghavan sir, to kindly receive the award. Thank you, sir. Congratulations to both our distinguished awardees. Before inviting our distinguished awardees to share their reflections, we have a special musical tribute to offer. One of our faculty members, Dr. Sudhire, Dean Alumni Affairs, TKMCE, will now present a song penned by the celebrated poet and lyricist, Honorable Sri Kumaran Thambi himself, a gesture that beautifully honors his literacy legacy. So this.
ഹലോ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ശ്രീകുമാരൻ തമ്പി സാറിന് നമസ്കാരം. താങ്കളുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട വരികളായിട്ട് എപ്പോഴും ലിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പാട്ടിൻ്റെ 2 വരി ശകലം എല്ലാവരുടെ അനുഭവത്തോടുകൂടി പ്രകാശനം ചെയ്യാണ്.
നിൻമണിയറയിലെ നിർമ്മല ശയ്യയിലെ നീല നീരാളമായി ഞാൻ മാറിയെങ്കിൽ ചന്ദന മണമോറും നിന്ദേഹമലർവല്ലി ഇന്നുമെൻ വിരിമാറിൽ പടരുമല്ലോ. നിൻമണിയറയിലെ നിർമ്മല ശയ്യയിലെ നീല നീരാളമായി ഞാൻ മാറിയെങ്കിൽ ചന്ദന മണമോറും നിന്ദേഹമലർവല്ലി ഇന്നുമെൻ വിരിമാറിൽ പടരുമല്ലോ. പുണ്യവതി നിന്റെ പൂങ്കാവനത്തിലൊരു പുഷ്പശലഭമായി ഞാൻ പറന്നുവെങ്കിൽ ശൃംഗാരമധുപൂറും നിൻരാഗപാനപാത്രം ഇന്നും എന്നതരത്തോടടുക്കുമല്ലോ. നിൻമണിയറയിലെ നിർമ്മല ശയ്യയിലെ നീല നീരാളമായി ഞാൻ മാറിയെങ്കിൽ ചന്ദന മണമോറും നിന്ദേഹമലർവല്ലി ഇന്നുമെൻ വിരിമാറിൽ പടരുമല്ലോ. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, sir, for that heartfelt rendition. We now invite the awardees to share a few words. May I now invite Honorable Sri Gumaran Thambi, sir, to kindly offer his reply speech.
അഭിവന്ദനായ ഡോക്ടർ ടി.കെ. ഷഹാൻ ഹസൻ മുസ്ലിയാർ, എൻ്റെ ചിരകാല സുഹൃത്തു കൂടിയായ ജനാബ് ടി.കെ. ജലാലുദ്ദീൻ മുസ്ലിയാർ, ജനാബ് ജെ അഫ്സൽ മുസ്ലിയാർ, ജനാബ് ടി.കെ. ജമാലുദ്ദീൻ മുസ്ലിയാർ, എൻ്റെ മുമ്പിലിരിക്കുന്ന സുമനസ്സുകളെ, വേദിയിലുള്ള മഹത്തുക്കളെ, എന്നോടൊപ്പം പുരസ്കാരം നേടിയ എൻ്റെ സുഹൃത്ത് ശ്രീ വിജയരാഘവൻ അവരുകളെ, ബഹുമാന്യനായ ഡോക്ടർ സജീവ് ഗോപിനാഥ് അവരുകളെ, എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം. കർമ്മനിരതനും ധർമ്മധീരനുമായ ഒരു മനുഷ്യന് മാത്രമേ ജീവിതത്തിൽ മഹത്വമാർജിക്കാൻ കഴിയും. അദ്ദേഹം കർമ്മനിരതനായിരിക്കണം, ധർമ്മത്തിൽ ധീരനുമായിരിക്കണം. ധർമ്മഭീരുവിന് ഒരിക്കലും മഹാനാകാൻ സാധ്യമല്ല. മഹാനായി ജനിക്കുന്നത് വലിയ കാര്യമല്ല, നല്ല അച്ഛൻ്റെ മകനായി ജനിച്ചാൽ മതി. പക്ഷേ സ്വന്തം ജീവിതത്തിലൂടെ മഹത്വം ആർജിക്കുക എന്നത് വളരെ വലിയ കാര്യമാണ്. അത് അപൂർവം ചില വ്യക്തികൾ മാത്രം സാധിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ജീവിതത്തിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാമല്ലോ, ജീവിതം 2 വിധത്തിലുണ്ട്. ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ നിലനിൽക്കുക എന്നതൊരു വഴി. നമ്മളിൽ ഭൂരിപക്ഷം പേരും നിലനിൽക്കുന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ, ജീവിക്കുന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ നിലനിൽക്കുക എന്നത്, ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ ജീവിക്കുക എന്നത് കുറെ കൂടി പ്രയാസമുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. മറ്റൊന്ന്, എങ്ങനെയും ജീവിക്കാം എന്നൊരു വഴിയുണ്ട്. എങ്ങനെയും ജീവിക്കാം. എങ്ങനെയും ജീവിക്കാമെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ തീരുമാനിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു പ്രയാസവുമില്ല. പക്ഷെ ഇങ്ങനെയേ ജീവിക്കൂ എന്ന് നിശ്ചയിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ജീവിതം അത്ര ക്ഷിപ്രസാധ്യമല്ല. ഇങ്ങനെയേ ഞാൻ ജീവിക്കൂ. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ യഥാർത്ഥമായി ജീവിച്ച ഒരു മഹാരഥനാണ് ജനാബ് തങ്ങൾ കുഞ്ഞു മുസലിയാർ. ഇങ്ങനെയേ ജീവിക്കൂ എന്ന് തീരുമാനമെടുത്ത ആളുമാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ ഓർമ്മിക്കുന്നത്. അദ്ദേഹം ഒരു വ്യവസായി മാത്രമായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഈ ജനക്കൂട്ടം ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. അദ്ദേഹം സാമൂഹ്യ പ്രതിബദ്ധതയുള്ള വ്യവസായിയായിരുന്നു. ആ വ്യവസായ ആയതും കഠിന പ്രയത്നത്തിലൂടെയാണ്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ജീവിതകഥ വായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളവർക്കറിയാം. വളരെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളുള്ള ഒരു ബാല്യത്തിൽ നിന്ന് സഹോദരങ്ങളെ രക്ഷിക്കുന്നതിനായി ചെറുപ്രായത്തിൽ തന്നെ സിലോണിൽ പോയി. സിലോണിൽ രത്നഖനിയിൽ വരെ ജോലിക്കാരനായിരുന്നു. ചെറിയ ജോലികൾ ചെയ്തു. അവിടെ നിന്ന് സിലോണിൽ നിന്ന് നേരെ പോയത് മലേഷ്യയിലേക്കാണ്. മലേഷ്യയിലും സിംഗപ്പൂരിലും ഇവിടെയെല്ലാം അദ്ദേഹം വിവിധ ജോലികൾ ചെയ്തു. പക്ഷെ അപ്പോഴൊക്കെയും വ്യത്യസ്തനായ വ്യക്തിയായതുകൊണ്ട് അദ്ദേഹം ജീവിതം പഠിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. ഈ ലോകത്തെ പഠിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. അന്ന് ഒന്നാം ലോക മഹായുദ്ധകാലമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഒന്നാം ലോക മഹായുദ്ധം, യുദ്ധം ജനങ്ങളിൽ വരുത്തുന്ന മാറ്റം അത് ശരിയായി പഠിച്ചു. പിന്നെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ജീവിതത്തെ മാറ്റിമറിച്ചത് ആ പഠനമാണ്. കാരണം രണ്ടാം ലോക മഹായുദ്ധം കാലത്തും അദ്ദേഹം ഈ രണ്ട് യുദ്ധങ്ങൾ തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം മനസ്സിലാക്കി. അങ്ങനെ ഈ രണ്ട് സിലോണിലും മലേഷ്യയിലും ജീവിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം നാട്ടിൽ തിരിച്ചു വന്ന് സ്വന്തമായി എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു തൊഴിൽ ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത്. വീട് ഇവിടെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ജോലിയിൽ കയറി പറ്റാമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നില്ല. സ്വന്തമായി എന്തെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യാൻ. അങ്ങനെയാണ് അദ്ദേഹം തൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ ഈ കശുവണ്ടി വ്യവസായത്തെ തുടക്കം. കശുവണ്ടി വാങ്ങി അത് സംസ്കരിച്ചെടുക്കുക. അതിനെ പല വീടുകളിലൊക്കെയാണ് ആദ്യം ഈ തൊഴിലാളികൾ ഈ പറങ്ങാണ്ടി തല്ലി പറങ്ങാണ്ടി എടുത്തിരുന്നത്. എന്നാൽ അതുപോരാ, എല്ലാവരും ഒരുമിച്ചിരുന്ന് പ്രവർത്തിക്കണം, ഒരു സ്ഥലം വേണം എന്ന് തീരുമാനിച്ച് മഹാനായ തങ്ങൾ കുഞ്ഞു മുസലിയാർ ആദ്യമായി ഒരു ഓലക്കെട്ടിടം കിട്ടിയത് കിളികൊല്ലൂരിലാണ്. കിളികൊല്ലൂരിൽ. ആ കിളികൊല്ലൂരിലാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഈ മഹാസ്ഥാപനവും മറ്റ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളും പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നത് എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കുക. അപ്പോൾ വളരാൻ നമ്മൾ നാട് വിട്ടു പോകണമെന്നില്ല എന്നതിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ തെളിവാണ് തങ്ങൾ കുഞ്ഞു മുസ്ലിയാർ എന്ന മഹാൻ. എന്നെ ഈ പുരസ്കാരദാനത്തിൽ ക്ഷണിക്കാനായി ഈ കോളേജിൻ്റെ മുൻ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ഡോക്ടർ അയൂബും ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പലും ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ വൈസ് പ്രിൻസിപ്പലും ചേർന്നാണ് വന്നത്. അവരെ മൂന്നുപേരെയും ഒരുമിച്ച് കണ്ടപ്പോൾ ഈ പുരസ്കാരം ഇനി ലഭിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് മനസ്സിലായപ്പോൾ എനിക്കുണ്ടായ അഭിമാനം നിസ്സാരമല്ല. കാരണം ഈ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് അങ്കണത്തിൽ വെച്ച് മഹാനായ തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാരുടെ പേരിലുള്ള പുരസ്കാരം ലഭിക്കുന്നത് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും എൻ്റെ ഭാഗ്യമാണ്. കാരണം ഞാനും ഒരു എഞ്ചിനീയറാണ്. ഇവിടെ ഞാൻ പറയാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രധാന കാര്യം, നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ജീവിതത്തെ കാണുന്നത്, നമ്മളെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് സമൂഹത്തെ കാണുന്നത്, നമ്മൾ വളരുന്ന സമൂഹം, ആ സമൂഹത്തിൻ്റെ സഹായം കൊണ്ടുകൂടിയാണ് നമ്മൾ വളരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ആ സമൂഹത്തിന് നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ചെന്ത് നൽകാൻ കഴിയും എന്ന് ചിന്തിക്കുന്ന വ്യവസായികൾ വളരെ കുറവായിരുന്നു. കാഷ്യൂ കിങ് എന്ന ഒരാളിനെ വിളിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളൂ കേരളത്തിൽ. അത് ജനാബ് തങ്കൽ മുസ്ലിയാറിനെയാണ്. കാഷ്യൂ കിങ്, കാഷ്യൂ രാജാവ്. അത് അന്വർത്ഥമാക്കിയ, എൻ്റെ ജീവിതം കൊണ്ട് അന്വർത്ഥമാക്കിയ ആളാണ് അദ്ദേഹം. പക്ഷേ അദ്ദേഹം കാഷ്യൂ ബിസിനസ്സിൽ മാത്രം നിന്നില്ല. വ്യവസായിയായി ജീവിതം മുഴുവനും പണം സമ്പാദിച്ചുകൊണ്ടേയിരുന്നില്ല. അദ്ദേഹം വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രംഗത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ചിന്തിച്ചു. അടുത്ത തലമുറയിലെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് പഠിക്കാൻ വിദ്യാലയങ്ങൾ വേണം. എന്തിനധികം അദ്ദേഹം സാംസ്കാരിക രംഗങ്ങൾക്ക് മുൻകൈയെടുത്തു. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ 11ാമത്തെ വയസ്സിലാണ് എൻ്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ കവിത എഴുതുന്നത്. 11ാം വയസ്സിൽ. ആ സമയത്ത് എൻ്റെ 11ാം വയസ്സിൽ തിരുവിതാംകൂറിൽ, അന്ന് കേരളമില്ല, തിരുവിതാംകൂർ, കൊച്ചി, മലബാറാണ്. അന്ന് തിരുവിതാംകൂറിൽ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട 3 ദിനപത്രങ്ങളാണ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. തിരുവനന്തപുരത്തു നിന്ന് പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിക്കുന്ന കേരള കൗമുദി, കൊല്ലത്തുനിന്ന് പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിക്കുന്ന മലയാള രാജ്യം, പ്രഭാതം. ഈ പ്രഭാതം എന്ന ദിനപത്രത്തിൻ്റെ സ്ഥാപകൻ തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാറാണെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കുക. പ്രഭാതം എന്ന പത്രത്തിൻ്റെ സ്ഥാപകൻ തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാറാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എൻ്റെ അന്നത്തെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ആഗ്രഹം എൻ്റെ കവിതകൾ പ്രഭാതത്തിൽ വരണമെന്നായിരുന്നു. അതിനുള്ള ഭാഗ്യമൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായില്ല. പക്ഷേ ഈ പ്രഭാതം പത്രത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് ഓർക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോഴും 11-12 വയസ്സിൽ എന്നെ വശീകരിച്ച ഒരു പ്രസിദ്ധീകരണമുണ്ട്, പ്രഭാതം വിശേഷാൽ പ്രതി. പ്രഭാതം വിശേഷാൽ പ്രതി കാണാൻ നല്ല ഭംഗിയാണ്. അന്നേ കളർ ചിത്രമാണ് കവർ. മലയാളത്തിൽ പ്രശസ്തരായ എഴുത്തുകാർ മുഴുവൻ അതിലെഴുതും. ആ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടം എൻ്റെ എൻ്റെ ഒരു ബാല്യം, എൻ്റെ കൗമാരകാലം, കൗമാരം ആയിട്ടില്ല, അന്നാണ് ഈ പ്രഭാതം അതിൻ്റെ ശരിയായ പ്രശസ്തിയിൽ നിലനിന്നത്. പിന്നെ എന്നെ അത്ഭുതപ്പെടുത്തുന്നൊരു കാര്യം, ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു പത്രത്തിൻ്റെ മുഖദർശനമായിട്ട്, അതായത് അതിൻ്റെ മുഖലേഖനം എഴുതുന്ന മേലെയായിട്ട് ഒരു 4 വരി കവിത ചേർക്കാറുണ്ട്. ഏതെങ്കിലും ചിലപ്പോൾ ഗീതയിലെ വാക്യമാകാം, ചിലപ്പോൾ അതുപോലെ വേറെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രശസ്ത ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നുള്ള വാക്യങ്ങളാകാം. പ്രഭാതത്തിൽ അങ്ങനെ 4 വരി, നിർഭാഗ്യവശാൽ ഞാൻ ആ വരി ഓർക്കുന്നില്ല, 4 വരി കവിതയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അത് എഴുതിയത് മറ്റാരുമല്ല, ജനാബ് തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാരായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഏതൊക്കെ മേഖലയിലാണ് അദ്ദേഹം പ്രവർത്തിച്ചത്? അദ്ദേഹം കഠിന പ്രയത്നം ചെയ്തിരുന്നുവെങ്കിൽ, നല്ലൊരു വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ പശ്ചാത്തലമുണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അദ്ദേഹം നല്ല എഴുത്തുകാരനുമാകുമായിരുന്നു. അല്ല, ഒരു കശുവണ്ടി വ്യവസായം നടന്ന ഒരാൾക്ക് ഒരു ദിനപത്രം തുടങ്ങണം എന്ന് ചിന്ത വരുന്നത് തന്നെ എന്തൊരു അത്ഭുതമാണെന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കുക. ആ കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ 50കളിൽ എന്തൊരു അത്ഭുതമാണ്. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തി, അപൂർവം മാത്രം ഈ ഭൂമിയിൽ ജനിക്കുന്ന വ്യക്തികളിൽ ഒരാളായിരുന്നു തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാർ. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ പേരിലുള്ള ഈ പുരസ്കാരം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഈ സ്ഥാപക ദിനത്തിൽ ഇവിടെ വന്ന് സ്വീകരിക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞതിൽ എനിക്കുള്ള സന്തോഷം ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ഞാൻ പ്രകടിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. എന്നെ ഇതിന് തിരഞ്ഞെടുത്ത ഇതിൻ്റെ ജൂറി അംഗങ്ങൾക്ക് ഞാൻ നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. പിന്നെ മറ്റൊരു രക്തബന്ധം എനിക്ക് ഈ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജുമായിട്ടുണ്ട്. TKM എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജുമായിട്ട് എനിക്ക് മറ്റൊരു രക്തബന്ധമുണ്ട്. എനിക്കിവിടെ പഠിക്കാനുള്ള ഭാഗ്യം ഉണ്ടായില്ല. പക്ഷേ എൻ്റെ സഹോദരിയുടെ 2 മക്കൾ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് പഠിച്ചത് ഇവിടെയാണ്. 2 പേരും കേരള യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ 1ാം റാങ്ക് നേടി. TKM എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കോളേജ് പഠിച്ചാൽ 1ാം റാങ്ക് നേടാൻ കഴിയും എന്ന് തെളിയിച്ച എൻ്റെ 2 അനന്തരവന്മാരെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം ഓർമ്മിക്കുകയാണ്. എനിക്കും അവർ അഭിമാനം നൽകി. 1994 ബിടെക് ഇലക്ട്രോണിക്സ് ആൻഡ് ഇലക്ട്രോണിക് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ വിഷയമെടുത്ത് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ 1ാം റാങ്ക് നേടിയ മൻമോഹൻ തമ്പിയും, 96 കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് വിഷയമെടുത്ത് കേരള യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ 1ാം റാങ്ക് നേടിയ ജയ്മോഹൻ തമ്പിയുമാണ് എൻ്റെ 2 അനന്തരവന്മാർ. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ കോളേജിനോട് എനിക്ക് കടപ്പാടുണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ഖരഗ്പൂർ IITയിൽ അഡ്മിഷൻ കിട്ടിയ തൻ്റെ മകനെ ഖരപ്പൂരി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന അയക്കേണ്ട, കൊല്ലത്ത് പഠിച്ചാൽ മതി തീരുമാനിച്ച എൻ്റെ സഹോദരിയുടെ ദീർഘർഷത്തെ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഓർമ്മിക്കുന്നു. എൻ്റെ ദുഃഖം പറയാതിരിക്കാൻ വയ്യ. ആ സഹോദരി എന്നേക്കാൾ ഇളയ എൻ്റെ അനിയത്തിയായ അവൾ ഇപ്പോഴില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കോളേജ് അന്തരീക്ഷത്തിൽ വരുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ അവളെയും ഓർമ്മിക്കും. കാരണം കൊല്ലത്ത് പഠിച്ചാൽ മതി എൻ്റെ മക്കൾ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ അവളുടെ ആ ദീർഘദർശനവും സ്വദേശ സ്നേഹവും എന്നെ അഭിമാനഭരിതനാക്കുന്നു. നിങ്ങൾക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും ഞാൻ നന്മകൾ നേരുന്നു. ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ഈ പ്രസ്ഥാനത്തിൻ്റെ സാരഥികൾക്ക്, മഹാനായ തങ്ങൾ മുസ്ലിയാരുടെ മക്കൾക്കും കുടുംബത്തിനും ഞാൻ എല്ലാ ഭാഗ്യവും ഉണ്ടാകട്ടെ എന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നു. നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you, sir, for those deeply moving and inspiring words. May I now invite Honorable G. Vijay Raghavan, sir, to kindly offer his reply speech.
Respected members of the TKM Trust, distinguished faculty, dear students, alumni, friends, and my batchmates, many of whom are present here. Before I get into what I thought I would share with all of you today, I would like to first congratulate the Trust Chairman on being awarded with the Kerala Shri Award by the Government of Kerala. I should also recall the times when we joined the college. I don't think the buildings were totally complete, but in a few years from then, I think after Lambasar came in, and then the way he worked with our chairman to grow this into what I would say is probably the best college in Kerala. In fact, that commitment that was there by the trust and the principal at that time, what was very, very unique at that time was it was a very, very secular way by which the trust has always operated. That's something which all of us have appreciated over a time. For me today, I stand with a deep sense of gratitude and emotion. Over the years, I've generally avoided awards. I've always believed that the real satisfaction comes from the work itself and from the impact it creates. But this award is very special. To me, it comes from the trust that manages the institution that shaped my youth, my thinking, and in many ways, my entire life. It comes from my alma mater, the TKM College of Engineering, and that makes it deeply personal. If there is anything worthwhile that I have done in my profession, whether it was building the Technopark, setting up institutions like NISH and CADA, or working with companies and social activity initiatives, the seeds of all these were sown right here between 1974 and 1978. These 4 years gave me far more than a degree. They gave me a foundation for life. When I look back, I realize that it was not just the classrooms, the laboratories that shaped me, it was the people. The professors of TKM, at that time many of them just lecturers, were not just teachers. They were mentors, guides, and in many cases, role models. They taught us not only engineering subjects, but also discipline, integrity, clarity of thought, and respect for knowledge. I was not a brilliant student. In fact, I could describe myself as quite an average student in academics, but I was deeply involved in extracurricular activities, student initiatives, organizing events, debates, and many such engagements. Looking back, I realized that those experiences were my first lessons in leadership, teamwork, negotiation, problem solving, and the faculty never discouraged us. They guided us, sometimes corrected us, and very often quietly supported us. What I learned from my teachers, and I'm happy that at least Professor Labba, Professor Rajan, and Professor Nambudiri are here today. From Professor P.O.J. Labba, who was initially professor and head of the electrical engineering department, and later became the principal, he had a profound influence on me. The relationship he maintained with all of us was remarkable. He knew us by name. He continued that relationship for decades. From him, I learned the importance of humility, never to display power unnecessarily, and to take your colleagues and stakeholders along on the journey, and to maintain and nurture relationships. He continues to live those values even today and is present at almost every alumni meet, irrespective of where it is. To Professor Labba, I'm deeply grateful for those learnings that he gave me. Professor Rajagopalan, who is no longer with us, was the head of the department and the leader among the faculty, taught me many leadership qualities, clarity, firmness, and fairness. From Professor K.C. Nair, who's also not here today, not with us anymore, I learned how complex issues could be explained in a very simple and elegant manner. The clarity of communication is something I've tried to practice throughout my career. Professor K.B. Sharma was more like an elder brother to all of us. He would be part of student events, even those outside the college. He was always one among us. Professor Bas was one of those who encouraged me most during my initial years in college. In that first year, when everything was new and uncertain, his encouragement motivated me to do better. Professor K.V. Purushothaman, Professor Rajan, Professor Nambudiri, I learned the importance of being systematic and methodological in whatever one does. And then there was Professor Shenoy. While we were in college, many of us thought he was too strict, that he did not care for us. It took me a year or two after I left college to realize that everything he did or said was for our benefit. I have mentioned only a few names, but I would say that every professor, every faculty member, in some way can take credit for molding me into what I am today. During our time in college, for any major event, students and staff together work together. And this is more for the students and staff who are here today from the various institutions. I remember days in my third year when we had major activities on campus. As we decorated the stages late into the night, many of the staff members would be with us, one among us. They would stay awake. For sports events, you had the staff and students shoulder to shoulder working on these events. TKM in those days was a big family, and that family was a very successful one. A personal note of gratitude, there is another reason why this award has a special meaning for me. I was admitted to this college, some of my friends know, but not many know, through the management quota. For that, I remain deeply indebted to the management of the TKM Trust and to the late Tangal Kunju Musliar, whose vision created this institution. In fact, when you talk about Tangal Kunju Musliar, he was actually, it's difficult to say what he was, whether he was an industrialist, an educationalist, or a reformer. But he was somebody who walked far ahead of his time. If Fortune magazine had to feature him and talk about him, you should remember the kind of global impact that he made during that time. If you look at the models, many of which were discussed earlier today, of business that he created, again you will see that he walked far ahead of time. And I believe he was the one who set up the first private engineering college, and that's in a way a pioneering effort. And I'm very happy that the trust today, under the able leadership of Shri Shahal Musliar and Shri Jalaluddin Musliar, Jamaluddin Musliar, and the others, Khalid Musliar, others here today, actually continue with that same values and philosophies that he imbibed in all of them. In fact, I believe that if I had not joined for engineering at that time, my life may have taken a very different course. Many doors that opened later in education, public service, and institution building may never have been opened. So this award, in a way, feels like a circle being completed. A student who was given an opportunity decades ago is being called back and honored by the same institution. That is very humbling. It's a very, very humbling experience for me. The gratitude to my family and friends and colleagues. I'd like to express my gratitude to my parents who gave me the values and the opportunity that shaped my life. To my wife and my children, thank you for standing by me through this long journey. Many times you had to adjust your lives around the many commitments that I had, my travels, my work. You supported me, encouraged me, and perhaps at times even tolerated. For that, I'm deeply grateful. I would also like to acknowledge my batchmates, many of whom who are here, some of them traveling long distances. They encouraged me during my college days and after. They stood by me, shared some of the most formative years of my life. Those friendships have lasted a lifetime. And I must say that very clearly this award does not belong to me alone. It belongs to the many teams that I have had the privilege of working with, the teachers and mentors who shaped me, and the family and friends who supported me. What truly shaped us during that period? I think if I reflect back, I would say there were three things which were important for us. Number one, the close relationship that the students and the teachers had. Number two, a strong campus culture. And one interesting thing is, unlike many other colleges at that time, the staff never got transferred. We missed some of them when they went for their faculty improvement programs for an MTech or for a PhD. But otherwise, they continued, and that is how the relationship built. And I think the most important thing was the freedom to participate in activities beyond academics. There were basketball tournaments, there were volleyball tournaments, athletic meets which were intercollegiate, and we had people from all over. In fact, some of the top Kerala players later on have played, and we have seen them play on these grounds. We knew our teachers and they knew us, not just as roll numbers, but as individuals. We could walk into their rooms, talk to them, ask questions, sometimes even argue with them. There was mutual respect. That relationship created accountability. We wanted to do well, not because of marks alone, but because we did not want to disappoint our teachers. Today, in many institutions, that relationship is weakening. Campuses are becoming more transactional. Students see teachers as service providers, teachers as batches. Teachers see students as batches to be completed. Unfortunately, technology has increased access to information, but in many cases, it has reduced human connection. And that really worries me. For the students who are here today, your degree would help you to get your first job. Your relationships, values, and character will shape your entire life. Take the time to know your teachers. And for teachers who are here, take the time to know your students and make them feel that you're adding value to them. Ask them about their journeys, seek their guidance, not just for exams, but for life. Participate in activities beyond the classroom, organize something, lead a team, fail at something. There is nothing wrong in failing, because with every failure, you learn to do better. Try again and succeed. Those experiences will teach you far more than any textbook. And most importantly, remember that success is not just about personal achievement. It is about the difference you make in the life of others. To the faculty, I would say with deepest respect, you may never know the impact that you have on your students. A word of encouragement, a moment of patience, a gesture of trust. These things stay with students for decades. That's what's happened to me. I'm standing here today because some teachers, many years ago, believed in a very ordinary student and gave him opportunities. Institutions become great not because of rankings or infrastructure, but because of the quality of relationships between teachers and students and where the students go over a period of time. If we can preserve that culture, TKM will continue to produce not just engineers, but leaders, entrepreneurs, public servants, and change makers. Before I conclude, I would just like to say that I had the privilege of staying in the first building that Sri Kumaran Thampi built in Madras on the Triplicane High Road for my uncle, S.A. Nair, who worked in the film field at that time. And I have known him since then, even though at that time he would not have me, because I was probably in the room where he would, just behind, where he would come in to spend time with his films and others with my uncle. It's also a great honor and a privilege to be given this this Lifetime Achievement Award. And like I said earlier, I have avoided awards as far as possible. In fact, I can remember of just 3 or 4 that I've received, and those are all places where I couldn't say no. But this was a place where I really felt humbled that I got it. As I accept this TKM Lifetime Achievement Award, I would do so with humility and gratitude. In truth, no lifetime achievement is ever an individual achievement. It is always the result of many people investing their time, trust, and energy in you. To the TKM College of Engineering, thank you for the opportunity you gave a young average student many decades ago. And thank you today for reminding me where it all began. Thank you very much.
താങ്ക് യു വിജയരാഘവൻ സർ. ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ നമ്മൾ പരാമർശിക്കേണ്ട ചില പേരുകൾ ഞങ്ങൾ വിട്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ആ പേരുകൾ തീർച്ചയായും ഈ വേദിയിൽ പരാമർശിക്കേണ്ടതുണ്ട് എന്ന് ട്രസ്റ്റ് അറിയിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഒന്ന്, നമ്മുടെ TKM പ്രസ്ഥാനങ്ങളുടെ വളർച്ചയിൽ നിർണായകമായ പങ്കുവഹിച്ച, ഒരുപക്ഷെ ഈ ചടങ്ങിൽ ഏറ്റവും സീനിയറായ അംഗവും നമ്മുടെ TKM ട്രസ്റ്റിൻ്റെ കോർഡിനേറ്ററുമായി പ്രവർത്തിച്ച ബഹുമാന്യനായ ഇബ്രാഹിം കുട്ടി സാർ ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഈ കോളേജിലെ ഏറ്റവും ദീർഘകാലം പ്രിൻസിപ്പളായിരുന്ന ഞങ്ങളെപ്പോലുള്ള ഒരു തലമുറയെ ഈ കോളേജിലേക്ക് കൈപിടിച്ചു കൊണ്ടുവന്ന ബഹുമാന്യനായ ലബ്ബ സാർ ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ SNDP യോഗത്തിൻ്റെ ജില്ലാ ട്രഷറർ ഡോക്ടർ ജയദേവൻ സാറ് ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ നമ്മുടെ ചീഫ് ഗസ്റ്റ് ശ്രീകുമാരൻ തമ്പി സാറിൻ്റെ കുടുംബ അംഗങ്ങൾ ശ്രീ മധു ഉൾപ്പെടെ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ വിജയരാഘവൻ സാറിൻ്റെ ഫാമിലി, അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ സഹധർമ്മിണിയും സഹോദരനും ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഞങ്ങളുടെ ബഹുമാന്യരായ മുൻ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽമാർ, ഞങ്ങളുടെ ബഹുമാന്യരായ അധ്യാപകർ, ഹെഡ്സ് ഓഫ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻറ്റ്സ് എല്ലാവരും ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നു. എല്ലാവരുടെയും പേരെടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞതായി ദയവായി നിങ്ങൾ കണക്കാക്കും എന്ന അഭ്യർത്ഥനയോടെ മീറ്റിംഗ് നമ്മൾ തുടരുകയാണ്.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, G. Vijayaraghavan, sir, for your heartfelt reflections and for taking us back to your college days at TKMC. We deeply appreciate your words. Next, as part of today's commemorations, we also mark an important institutional milestone, the unveiling of the revised TKM College Trust logo. May I now invite Mr. Siddiq Musliar, entrepreneur and CEO of Advantage Marketing Solutions and a member of the TKM family, to kindly come forward to share with us the design rationale of the new logo and lead us through its official unveiling.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the invite. Honorable Chairman, Treasurer, Vijayaraghavan sir, Sri Kumaran Thampi sir, Saji Gopinath sir, trust members, family members, faculty and invitees. A very good afternoon to all of you. So this is a very special day for TKM, where we'll be coming up with the new logo for the TKM Trust brand. So it's a 70-year legacy that is being reimagined for a diverse future. So as you all know, this is the current logo that has been used for a long time. I think it's more than 20 years since we have trademarked it, but previously also we have been using it for a long time. And you can see here that this has remained with us as a symbol of trust. The trust that has been talked about by the speakers here, the awardees, and Saji Gopinath sir have especially talked about how what TKM has contributed to the management science and how the way of running business has contributed in developing business as a whole. But the main thing
that has stood with TKM is not just his way of starting business or running institutions, but what has stood is his values. His values have remained constant for the past 70 years. That has not changed. Our institutions have come up, people have changed, but the values have remained, and that's the most important thing. So TKM is synonymous with excellence in education. All of us know that. But we plan to go beyond that. We plan to go beyond where we have excelled and transcend its educational roots. So education comes automatically to TKM. Whenever people talk about TKM, though Cashew does come in mind, but now it's mostly linked to education. And we are accessing new horizons. So it could be, we are in the plans, the trust and members are planning in different industries, in hospitality, infrastructure, IT, and different industries. So the new identity should be common for all these different identities, industries that the brand is coming into. So the mandate was to create a category neutral identity that carries the TKM weight of trust across any industry. So a brand does not become a brand just by the visual identity. It becomes a brand because of the values it carries, because of what it has delivered throughout the years. So you cannot become a brand without delivering. Now, there are two aspects to branding. One is the delivery of the service or product, and the other is the imagery or the communication that you're putting out. So, and that's where we are trying to bring in a change. So what are the main aspects of the new identity? A clean, minimalist approach that fits seamlessly into all platforms, online and offline. A solid geometric form that communicates reliability and strength. And it should look prestigious on an IT company or an infrastructure company as it does on a university campus or a corporate tower. So this is what defines the new identity. And what is the design idea? We've come up with it's an organic fusion of the letters TKM, Tangal Kunji Musliar, but it's a literal fusion of the words. And by using our initials as the foundation, the icon remains true to our history while becoming a powerful standalone symbol. So like I've been mentioning earlier, our values are not changing. Only our identity is being slightly modified so that, we stand with time, and all brands, if you look at any brand across the globe, they change with time. So you need to adapt with the changing times and how the visual identity of different people and different brands are changing. We also need to adapt, and that's where we are changing. So I'd like to invite our beloved chairman and treasurer, the two pillars of our institutions, to unveil the new logo.
keyboard off camera.
There's a small technical issue. We'll just come back to it. No, അത് ഇവിടെ സ്ക്രീനിൽ വരുന്നില്ല, അവിടെ മാറ്റണം. So we'll quickly play it again. Just yeah. So this is the new logo that's going to be used by the TKM Trust. This is not the logo of the engineering college, or this is of the TKM Trust. I think most of you know that we use it separately. The different institution logos are different, and the TKM Trust logo is different. So this is going to be for the TKM Trust brand, and it would be used in the future communications and maybe letter pads and all kind of collaterals, content and everything that's going to go online and offline. So we'll be sharing the details further with the with the respective people who will be using it. And this is where the the institution name also comes in. Yeah. So thank you, Trust, for giving me an opportunity. I'm very proud that as a young family member I'm able to present this here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Janab Khalid Musliar, member TKM College Trust, to propose the vote of thanks.
Respected Janab Shahal Hassan Musliar, Honorable President and Visionary Leader of the TKM College Trust, Dr. Saji Gopanath, Honorable VC Digital University, Honorable Sri Kumaran Thambi, distinguished poet, lyricist and recipient of the Thangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award, Honorable Sri G. Vijaya Raghavan, our distinguished alumnus, renowned technocrat and other recipient of the Thangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award, respected Janab Jalaluddin Musliar, Treasurer, TKM College Trust. Respected members of the TKM College Trust. Respected TKM Trust Executive Director Dr. Ayub, heads of the TKM group of institutions, esteemed faculty members, dear staff, students, alumni, members of the media, and distinguished guests, a good afternoon to all. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion of the Founders' Day of the TKM College of Engineering. At the outset, let me pay homage to the sacred memory of a beloved founder, Janab Tangal Kunju Musliar. First and foremost, I express our deepest gratitude to Janab Shahal Hassan Musliar, President of the TKM College Trust, whose compassionate leadership, devotion, and visionary guidance continue to carry forward the noble ideals of our revered founder. Sir, your inspiration remains the strength and guiding force of the entire TKM family. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence and the inspiring presidential address. We are deeply honored by the gracious presence of Honorable Sri Kumaran Thampi, the legendary poet, lyricist, and filmmaker. Sir, your lifelong contributions to literature, art, and culture have immensely enriched our society. We sincerely thank you for accepting our invitation to receive the Tangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award and for inspiring us with your words and presence today. Thank you, sir. A heartfelt thanks to Honorable Sri G. Vijayaraghavan, an illustrious and proud alumnus and a pioneer in shaping Kerala's technological ecosystem. Your contributions to nurturing and strengthening the technological and digital landscape of the state will always be remembered. Sir, your achievements continue to inspire our students and academic community. Thank you for graciously accepting the Tangal Kunju Musliar Lifetime Achievement Award and for your inspiring presence today. Thank you, sir. I respectfully thank Janab Jalaluddin Musliar, Treasurer of the TKM College Trust, for serving as the convener of the organizing committee and for his consistent encouragement, support, and valuable guidance that strengthen the activities and aspirations of the TKM College Trust. I also extend my sincere gratitude to Janab Jamaluddin Musliar and all the esteemed members of the TKM College Trust for their activities, involvement, and guidance in fostering the growth and excellence of all institutions under the Trust, including Mr. Ayub. I also thank all members of TKM family for their gracious presence in this function. My appreciation goes to the heads of institutions of the TKM group of institutions for the dedicated leadership and coordinated efforts in upholding the values and academic standards envisioned by our beloved founder. I also place our gratitude to the faculty and staff of TKM group of institutions whose appreciable efforts, commitment, and teamwork make every achievement possible. I would also like to place on record a special thanks to Dr. Sadiq, Principal, and the entire team of TKM College of Engineering for the excellent arrangement made for this program. I also thank the members of the ongoing committee, volunteers, and all those who worked behind the scenes to plan and conduct this program smoothly and successfully. Finally, I express my sincere thanks to all our distinguished guests, alumni, students, well-wishers, and members of the media for your gracious presence and for being part of this celebration of our heritage and enduring legacy. Let us rededicate ourselves to the ideals of our great founder and move forward with renewed commitment and purpose. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. As we draw this program to a close, may I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे